he's a pretty good guy. We actually still like him. And the Lord will be our God, and we will follow him. He is God, and we like him, and his blood is good too. And we're like really grateful for his blood and everything. Hey folks, welcome to Joel Reads Bible. I'm Joel, and I read Bible so that you don't have to, and we are still in Deuteronomy. We've only done the first 10 chapters, so we have quite a ways to go. Or is that one? It might even be 1/3. I think there's only 33 chapters, but I thought that about Numbers and Exodus, I think. I keep on thinking it's only 33 chapters, and it may be because I know that that's God's favorite number. 3, not 33 specifically. So I'm like, all the books are probably 33. You know, now I'm getting into numerology. Isn't that crazy? Numerology is crazy. But we're going to be reading Deuteronomy chapter 11. No one knows how to pronounce the name of this book. In the last few chapters, we've just had God basically say, like, follow my statutes and my laws, follow my statutes and my laws. And then Moses, like, recounts his whole life. Basically, like, he's in an old folks' home. He misremembers a few things. And then, of course, reiterates, follow the statutes and ordinances, follow the statutes and ordinances. So here we are in Deuteronomy chapter 11, and who knows what it's going to be about, but chances are it's going to be laws and ordinances. Now I can't even pronounce that word. And just make sure you stay to the end of the chapter, because I'm going to tell you what I loved about the chapter, yes, and what I loathed. If that doesn't make you engage, if that doesn't make you want to engage, then I don't know what will. Deuteronomy chapter 11. Therefore you shall love Yahweh your God and keep his instructions, his statutes, his ordinances, and his commandments always. I don't know who's saying this, so I don't know whose voice to do. It looks like it's Moses, so we'll just continue as Moses. Know this day, for I don't speak with your children who have not known and who have not seen the chastisement of Yahweh your God, his greatness, his mighty hand, his outstretched arm, his signs, and his works, which he did in the middle of Egypt to Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, and to all his land, and what he did to the army of Egypt, to their horses, and to their chariots, how he made the water of the Red Sea overflow them as they pursued you, and how Yahweh has destroyed them to this day, and what he did to you in the wilderness until you came to this place, and what he did to Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, the son of Reuben, how the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up with their households, their tents, and every living thing that followed them in the middle of all Israel. But your eyes have seen all of Yahweh's great work which he did. That's not true. So if Moses is speaking to the children of Israel at like the end of the 40 years, I assume this is where we are, because he's kind of recounting the whole story. And he's saying, you guys saw it, didn't you? You saw Yahweh destroy Pharaoh and his army in the Red Sea. Dathan and Abiram were swallowed up, them and their whole families, which, by the way, it's like when people say saying the quiet part out loud, it's like you're a little bit too honest about this. Like, shouldn't you be a little bit more subtle, you know, like accidentally killing the whole family, even though it was just like Dathan and Abiram's fault, but like he accidentally didn't see it off, the ground open up and got them all, you know, like, but it's like you saw the wonders, all the murders that Yahweh did. Did you see all the killing that he did? Did you see all that amazing death that Yahweh brought? But it was death to the right people, so that's why it's fine. But they didn't see it, right? I am almost certain most of the people he's speaking to right now didn't see the Red Sea part. The Red Sea was right at the beginning when everyone left Egypt, and then all the people who left Egypt are dead by now because none of them are going into Canaan. So they're all dead, and now this is a fresh generation. But there's probably a bunch of like kids, you know, like a bunch of kids that had come out, they weren't killed because it's probably just the people that are like 20 and over that are going to be killed, because they were the ones that were like guilty of being afraid of the giants in Canaan. It could also be like literally everyone from that point, which is Numbers 13 and on, are all dead, right? That's how it could work, because that's when the 40-year thing started, and we learned that all this generation would be gone and none of them would go into the Holy Land. So Dathan and Abiram are killed in chapter 16. So the people who witnessed Dathan and Abiram would be probably like mostly dead, and maybe a few like children are still around. So he's really speaking to a small minority of the group when he says, you guys saw this. They didn't. They weren't there yet. This is not true. The Bible isn't remembering its own narrative again. This is 100% a contradiction. Something's not true. Moses might be getting it wrong. Do I know you guys? Do I know you? Where are all the people that we used to know? Are you guys all the same ones? Are you know how people with dementia are like, they talk to their granddaughter like it's their daughter? I think that's what's going on here. It's like, oh, you're Hezekiah. It's like, Hezekiah was my dad and he's dead, that kind of thing. That's probably what's going on. Therefore, you shall keep the entire commandment which I command you today, that you may be strong and go in and possess the land that you go over to possess, and that you may prolong your days in the land which Yahweh swore to your fathers to give to them and to their offspring, a land flowing with milk and honey. So interesting, this promise that happens here. And this is me being a little bit proactive. The original point of this project was to read this and try not to have like any preconceived notions, specifically the way Christians do, where they take the New Testament and apply it to the Old Testament. But there is something with this verse that I kind of want to point out. It's this wording which is really specific. And you may prolong your days in the land which Yahweh swore to your fathers, and give that to them and to their offspring a land flowing with milk and honey. There's a couple of terms here: prolong your days and offspring. And these are very common like promises from God to the children of Israel, right? To the Hebrews. And we see this exact verbiage in Isaiah 53, where people are claiming that it's talking about Jesus. But of course, it's really difficult to say that like God prolonged Jesus' days because he's like an eternal being. And also Jesus didn't have any offspring. But this type of promise always applies to Hebrews. Like, you guys will live long and prosper, and you'll have lots of kids. You'll have many descendants. This is the promise of the Bible to the Hebrews. And to imagine that in one case, when this is definitely just this again, in Isaiah 53, all of a sudden that's about Jesus, that seems like a huge leap. It's entirely unprecedented, let's say that. Like, this, I think, is the precedent. I'm going to prolong your days, and you are going to have many offspring, literal children and descendants, and you're going to live very long, and they're all going to live long and be happy. And we see that. That's just a theme. So to all of a sudden think that Isaiah 53 isn't about that is ridiculous. But again, I'm getting ahead of myself. We're trying to take things in order, but let's just clock this verse and put it in our back pocket for later. For the land where you go in to possess isn't like the land of Egypt that you came out of, where you sowed your seed and watered it with your foot, as a God in the verbs. But the land that you go over to possess is a land of hills and valleys, which drinks water from the rain of the sky, a land which Yahweh your God cares for. Yahweh your God's eyes are always on it from beginning of the year even to the end of the year. This is poetic. This is really, for Bible, I think this is kind of pretty. Say, hey guys, stop being so bitter. Stop being so anti-Bible and like finding it all very boring and disgusting. Fair enough. There's a lot of that garbage in there, but listen to this. Like, this is really nice. Now, I don't know how you water seeds with your feet. This is what I'm picturing. You take a big toe and you shove it into the dirt and you put some seeds in the hole, maybe. So you like sow it with your feet. And then I don't know if you like hold a hose between your toes to water. I don't know that part. Or if you just kick water at it. So that's silly. But a land of hills and valleys which drinks water from the rain of the sky. Like, come on. A land which Yahweh is caring for the land. He's doing the gardening. He couldn't do it in the Garden of Eden. He needed Adam for that, which is a little bit, what? But now he's changed his mind and he's like, I am going to care for this from the whole year, right? From the beginning to the end. The whole time I'm going to be looking at it. You know what is great about it? The words are nice. Like, the words are really nice, but they don't mean anything. Like, they're not doing anything. That's part of it. It's like, no, he's watching. His eyes are on it. He's got his eye on it. He cares for it. What does he do? Cares for it. Don't ask questions. He cares for it. So just, it's kind of nice, even if it doesn't mean anything. It shall happen if you shall listen diligently to my commandments, which I command you today, to love Yahweh your God and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul, that I will give the rain for your land in its season, the early rain and the latter rain, that you may gather all your grain and all your new wine and your oil. And I will give grass in your fields for your livestock, and you shall eat and be full. Be careful lest your heart be deceived, and you turn away to serve other gods and worship them, and Yahweh's anger be kindled against you, and he shut up the sky so that there is no rain, and the land doesn't yield its fruit, and you perish quickly from off the good land which Yahweh gives you. This is where it's time-stamped, you know what I mean? Because we know that people did think that, like, worship the God, do what the God wants, and you'll get good crops. This God will give you your interests if you behave correctly. And you'll see this in other cultures, right, of the similar time. People think that they have to do something, kill something, behave a certain way, and then they'll get like piles of kids or be healthy. And some of them still think that. This is definitely the healthy thing. This is superstition. Like, no reasonable person believes that now, right? We know the cause and effect of things. We know how things grow. We understand that stuff. So no one's sitting there going, let's pray for a good crop. Like, they're done with that. In a lot of ways, we've beaten it. We don't have to succumb to weather sometimes. We just have greenhouses and we control temperatures in our own environments. So this is very, of a time, and it tells us, I don't want to say intelligence, but the knowledge base of the people who wrote it. So to take it super seriously and go, they were onto something, feels very silly to me. It feels like a wrong move when you're looking for something true. You're looking for something of value and something to believe and something to, really lean into. Don't make it be something written by people who think that if they follow certain rules, God's going to bring the rain in its correct season. But if you don't, he's going to shut up the sky and you're not going to get fed. That's so silly. That's incredibly, incredibly juvenile and ancient and superstitious and all those things. You should see that. And if you believe this, kind of grow up, I guess, and leave the cult. Therefore you shall lay up these words of mine in your heart and in your soul. You shall bind them for a sign on your hand, and they shall be for frontlets between your eyes. You shall teach them to your children, talking of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. You shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates, that your days and your children's days may be multiplied in the lands which Yahweh swore to your fathers to give them as the days of the heavens above the earth. We know this. He's really serious about these words of his. And these words are the laws and ordinances. I want to reiterate that. We keep getting that. Follow these laws and ordinances so that you may live a long time, and teach them to your children and put them behind your eyes. You know, the law, the law, the law, the law, the law. For if you shall diligently keep these commandments which I command you to do them, to love Yahweh your God, to walk in all his ways and cling to him, then Yahweh will drive out all these nations from before you, and you shall dispossess nations greater and mightier than yourselves. Every place on which the sole of your foot treads shall be yours, from the wilderness and Lebanon, from the river Euphrates, even the western sea shall be your border. No man will be able to stand before you. Yahweh your God will lay the fear of you and the dread of you on all the land that you tread on, as he has spoken to you. This is just the same stuff. Like this is so. This chapter wouldn't exist in my version of the Bible. That would just be like, see the previous chapter that says the same thing. Like there's a lot of these like promises and threats, and then promises of being able to hurt other people that just are like annoyingly repeated. Like we get it way too much. You know, like if you were to write a book, okay, and you had like something you wanted to drive home to people, like just a novel or something, you only have to mention that thing like once or twice, but probably like 2 times. And then it's stuck in someone's mind. And then maybe there's like a callback at the very end. So you'd set it up a couple times and then hit the callback at the end, and people will connect that, and they'll think that they've experienced the point like more than 2 times. But this, they don't know that yet here. So they're just like, do you think we should mention all of the threats and stuff a bazillion times? It's like, yeah, they're not going to remember it if we don't put it in there 100,000 times. Okay, let's just, make sure that we keep on saying it. We also have a word count we have to achieve, Behold, I set before you today a blessing and a curse. The blessing, if you listen to the commandments of Yahweh your God, which I commanded you today, and the curse, if you do not listen to the commandments of Yahweh your God, but turn away out of the way which I command you today, to go after other gods which you have not known. It shall happen when Yahweh your God brings you to the land that you go to possess, that you shall set the blessing on Mount Gerizim and the curse on Mount Ebal. Aren't they beyond the Jordan, behind the way of the going down of the sun, in the land of the Canaanites who dwell in the Arabah near Gilgal beside the oaks of Moreh? Aren't they? Aren't they? For you are to pass over the Jordan and go in to possess the land which Yahweh your God gives to you, and you shall possess it and dwell in it. You shall observe and do all the statutes and ordinances which I set before you today. This is brainwashing, guys. This is brainwashing. This is like in Catholic churches, they have those little books, like prayer books or something, that like they have the responsive readings. We had a bit of that in my church too, where it's like, the pastor will read like, the Lord is the greatest one. He's really great, and we really like him. And then everyone will go, he is amazing, and he's one of our favorite guys, and we would all worship him, and he's because he's actually holy and stuff. We like him a lot. And then the Lord, he's actually pretty. Actually, we were actually really proud of him for all the stuff that he's accomplished, because he's like He's a pretty good guy. We actually still like him. And the Lord will be our God, and we will follow him. He is God, and we like him, and his blood is good too. And we're like really grateful for his blood and everything. So that they have that going on. And I think this is some of that probably, where it's like every sort of like passage bookends it with, and the Lord will help us kill everyone and give us all sorts of land and stuff, and it's really, really nice, and we'll have crops. Look, what did I love about this chapter? I loved the contradiction, because you know how I love my contradictions, baby, where, this Dathan and Abiram thing, the people that are there did not witness that. They didn't witness the Red Sea thing, because the Bible forgets its own narrative. I love that. What did I hate about it? Obviously that I've read most of these words, and I don't mean that I've read the word the before or shall, but I've read these specific words in this particular order many times, and it's not any more interesting than it wasn't the first time, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense. Please subscribe, like this video, and leave me a comment, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.